When you find a job advert that interests you, you decide to apply for the job. Now, let's see some of the things in which you should include before applying for the job. An excellent candidate is the one that applies for the job position and attaches his or her cover letter as well as the resume. Okay, let's look at the ways in which you are going to make a good cover letter that is going to impress the employers. First, you need to know that a cover letter should have 3 main parts. The first one is the introduction, the second one is the body paragraph, and the last one is the conclusion. Okay, with the introduction, you need to state who you are, how you came across the job advert, and then you probably state why you are the best candidate for that job position. Also, don't forget that in this introduction part, you need to include why the position interests you. So in this case, you can say, for example, you have always admired the company, working in the company. Maybe you are interested in the company, maybe the job adverts, all those things, why you are interested in the position. Yeah, so now when you go to the body paragraph, this way you're going to sell yourself off to the employer to be, or maybe the company that is advertising the job advert. In this area, don't forget, talk about the experiences you have had in the past. Also talk about, work experiences. Also talk about the skills that you have. At least talk about 3 skills or traits that makes you a better candidate for this position. Another thing you need to do is to ensure that you have not summarized your resume. You see, on the resume, you're going to look at how the details you're going to include in your resume. So don't come to summarize the resume in the body paragraph of your cover letter. For example, in the resume, you're going to state the job positions or the work experiences that you have had, and then you're going to state the year, the roles that you played in those areas. But when you come to cover letter, ensure that you don't include the years you worked in those companies or those job positions. Also, don't include too much of the responsibilities or the roles that you played in those companies. So just make sure that you include the most important. It's a summary, but not a summary of your resume. Yeah, so you are not going to repeat yourself in the cover letter by summarizing the information in your resume. The last part, which is the conclusion of your cover letter, you need to thank the employer, or maybe not the employer really, maybe the hiring manager or the person you are writing the letter to. Talk to them thank them for the time they've taken to consider reading your letter. Also, maybe you can include information such as you look forward to meeting them and telling more about yourself. Yeah, and such information. Ensure that you're not going to include a lot of information in this area. Maybe like 2-3 sentences are okay. I'm going to show you an example through some of the cover letters I've written in the past. Okay, first, don't mind the format because the format depends with maybe, for instance, this one was meant for a student, so it's so much different from the one that you can send to your employer. So let's go to the main parts of the cover letter. So as you can see, first in this case, we are sending the cover letter to the human resource manager, and then at the introduction part, we say that you are going to include the reason as to why you are applying for the position, as well as mention the position in this part. Also, don't forget to say why you found the advert. So, for instance, in this case, I found my advert at indeedjobs.com. Also, I have included the reason as to why I believe I'm the best candidate for this position. So, before the employer reads the cover letter, he or she understands why I'm interested in applying for this position. So, you go to the next point, whereby is the body paragraph. And in this area, we said that you're going to include about, you're going to sell yourself off to this employer. So, you're going to talk about your internship, your job experiences, all those. So for instance, in this case, I've mentioned about being I've mentioned about my my experience as an intern. I've also talked about the degrees I hold in this case. So don't talk too much about these things, because you've already included them in your resume, as you said in the beginning. So ensure that you talk about relate these experiences with the position you're applying for. For instance, if you say that, for instance, in this case, the intern, the responsibility you're applying at your internship, maybe they fit the same position you're applying for. So you can maybe tell your employer about it. Also talk about the skills that you have. Maybe in this case, you can talk about the leadership skills, good communication skills, yeah, and maybe some other things, such as maybe you're good in Microsoft and other things. So when you come to the last part, we say that you're going to tell the hiring manager in this case that you are thankful for the time he or she has considered reading your cover letter. Also talk about who you are. Maybe talk, for instance, in this case, you can say maybe you are determined. Also, in this part, remember to inform the hiring manager that your resume is attached after reading, so that after reading the cover letter, he or she is going to find the resume and get more information about you as a candidate. Also, conclude your sentence, your letter, by talking about maybe you look forward to meeting him or her, so you can disclose more information about yourself.
Yeah, and I hope that you're going to make the best cover letter ever. Have a nice time. Kindly subscribe.